This episode of Weather Words with Frank Ward has been brought to you by The Reporter, Delaware County's leading news source. This episode of Weather Words with Frank Ward is sponsored by Clear Power Sports on West Street in Walton, your one-stop shop for outdoor recreational vehicles. Klinger services all recreational vehicles it sells. Stop in today to see how Klingers can help you enjoy the great outdoors in comfort and in style.
Good morning. You know what? It's not so bad. When you get up and it's 26 degrees outside, compared to what we've been having, it almost feels tropical. However, let's go back to when I spoke to you last time, which happened to be on Thursday. Because after we finished, and it was kind of chilly to start with, it really warmed up on Thursday. And the ice was melting and everything looked wonderful. And then in the late afternoon, early evening, it started to rain. And it rained a lot, okay? When you hear it pouring against the side of your house, and of course, the one thing I can tell you that this whole past time, if we could do away with the cold and we could do away with the wind, you know what? It'd be wonderful. We haven't been, this is the first time you can do this and not be blown away because it's been so windy. But anyway, what happened on Friday morning was rather amazing. At 4:30 in the morning, believe it or not, it was 54 and it was still raining. And then I watched my flag shift from the flag blowing this way, which is a south wind, to suddenly the flag went that way, which meant it's a north wind. And we had such a quick temperature change. I don't remember the last time it changed that quickly. I now understand when they talk about a flash freeze, we had it. Because believe it or not, within an hour's time, it went from 54 to snowing. And it continued to snow and the wind was blowing back and forth. But the flash freeze part, the gravel here suddenly iced over. So did the walkways, so did everything else. In what seemed like a few blinks of an eye. And believe it or not, by 9 o'clock in the morning, we had dropped to 24. That's a 30-degree temperature drop in about 4 hours. I mean, that's unbelievable. And then it never warmed up, okay? We had on and off snow showers during Friday. Every time it stopped snowing, I quickly went out and measured it because between those snowstorms, the sun came out. And this time of year, the sun's at an angle that even though it's below freezing, it melts the snow. So between each snowfall, it sort of disappeared, most of it anyway. It turned out we had about an inch of snow all day Friday. But when you got up on Saturday morning, there really wasn't much. There were traces of snow around. And you say, oh, that's great. I could walk everywhere and not slip and fall down. It was terrific. But then if you remember, at least right around here, it got darker and darker during the morning. And about 10:30, if you looked over that way toward Bainbridge in Sydney, it got really, really dark. And I quickly went in, looked at the Doppler radar, and I called my brother and said, get ready, here it comes. And it did. We had a really nasty snowstorm. Actually, it was a squall, not a storm. And we actually had whiteout conditions. My truck, which happens to be white, is only parked about 4 feet from my house in the driveway. Well, it disappeared. So did the house next door, and then everything disappeared. And in the 20 minutes or so it snowed, we had 2 inches of snow. It's what happened right after that that was interesting. I expected the winds to come first, and then the snow. We got the snow, and then we got the winds. The highest here was 38 miles an hour, and all that light snow blew everywhere for about the next hour. And then you look outside and go, it's still winter. There it is. But strangely enough, most of it melted. Because once again, the sun came out, and we went to 36 degrees, which got rid of most of everything. You'll notice there's an awful lot of bare ground behind me. That's going to stay. In fact, today, believe it or not, this is Thursday, 48 to 50 this afternoon. And it's going to stay above freezing tonight, which is great. And believe it or not, tomorrow, put it back up into the upper 40s. We might hit 50 again. That's going to get rid of all of this. And I wish I could say it might stay away. But believe it or not, another Arctic cold front is heading in our direction. It's part of a storm. The rain we're going to get, which is actually unfortunately going to be on tonight. Let's see, today's Thursday? Yeah, tonight. Oh, today's Monday, excuse me. You know what happened? When you start getting retired, you don't even pay attention to what day it is. But anyway, it's going to come and give us quite a bit of rain. Maybe on Tuesday, 1/4 of an inch in the afternoon, and then maybe a 1/2 inch on Tuesday night. You know, this hill is already running from the runoff from before. And if you notice, the river's up and so are the brooks. Throw 3/4 of an inch of rain on top of that and what's left of the snow melting. And are we going to flood? Low-lying areas. Maybe you'll get puddles and things all over the place. I don't think we're in danger of that. But then with the temperature falling at the end of this week, sort of freeze it all solid again. So I hope it has enough time to soak in somewhat so we can still walk around. Because the snowstorm that's coming, and the name of that snowstorm is Nancy, they're now saying 5 to 8 inches at least. You know, I hope that's the most, because I haven't plowed my driveway now in probably 8 years or so. Because it's nice having a person next door that's 30 years younger than I am, and he has to be to work at 5:30, because he gets up and plows the driveway first thing in the morning. Well, believe it or not, they're down at Disney World, and they won't be home until the weekend, which means I've got to get on the tractor and plow for the first time in a long time. I still remember. I just don't like getting out there and getting snowed on and getting cold, but it's going to be what it's going to be. They're not saying it might. They're just saying some places will get more than that. We're in the area that's colored light purple, which is 5 to 8. But this is one of those storms, a little shift this way or a little shift that way, and we see whatever happens. We can't control it anyway. We just got to live with it. And we're going to have some single numbers on Friday night. We're going to have maybe 10 for Saturday night. You know what? This is late February now. Single numbers are supposed to sort of be out of here. We should be in the teens, but we can't do anything about that either. I mean, I just opened up my electric bill and looked at it and paid it and just went, ugh. Because you know what, with everything heating the water in the barns and the things for the chickens and the heat lamps and the everything else that's on around here, the electric bill was quite a bit higher than it has been in the past. And then you can tie into that the increase in fuel prices for them making the electricity and everything else that's happening. And like I said, if you haven't checked your propane tank, do it soon. I happened to look yesterday over there. They're still at 55%. That's pretty big, because that's a big 1,000-gallon tank. So we don't have to worry about it. But my brother got a filling last week when the driveway was finally clear. So he's saying, phew. You know, it's just one of those things that this has been one of the colder winters we have had in quite a long time. Now, a little bit of history. We had to be lucky. I know people are saying there's not even enough to snowmobile, there's not enough to ski and all of this. But back in 1996, we had snow that didn't melt, and then we had several inches of rain over it, and that gave us that horrible flood in January of 1996. Okay, we're lucky we didn't have a lot of snow this thing from last week, because we would have flooded. Okay, so there's good parts and there's bad parts. I mean, the snowmobile's probably still parked. I mean, I'm sorry for that, but maybe you'll ride it this weekend. We'll wait and see what happens. So again, at least the ice is gone, and what wasn't gone will be gone by tonight, and it's not such bad news. You know what? I'm already walking around planning which plants are going to go where and rearranging gardens. I mean, all in my head at the moment, but you know what? It'll get here sooner or later, and I can't wait. So have a real good time, and let's hope we don't have to shovel too much.
Shop Klinger Power Sports on West Street in Walton today.